Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start inside the eyes. Now you have to watch that you don't stick your hand like through the paint, okay? So I'm going to wash, or I'm going to leave that brush in my cup actually, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, you can get a short-haired round brush. You can just get a round brush, and we're going to use this part of the base of your brush. So any round brush would do. Like if you have a brush like this, you're going to use like down here, not the point, okay? And I'm not going to wet it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get, I have a little bit of my phthalo blue green or turquoise right here. Either one would do. Okay, I'm going to put the smallest amount of white with it. Look how little my paint is. It's the smallest amount, okay? I'm going to scrub it down at the base. It's always good to have like a scrubby brush, you know, somewhere. I'm going to go right over this dot where this dot is. Too much paint, and that was just so little too. So I'm just going to scrub this in. And because it's so much paint, I am going to have to fuzz that out with a little bit of black. So you want to make sure, I actually think that just white will do. I'm sorry about that. I think that's just too bright. I'm using a potent color here. Like I have turquoise on the list because I don't want people to have to buy Soho phthalo blue green. And it's very similar, but it's real rich. And so I'm going to put that in there. Let me get a touch of black to blend this out, and then I'll put that right back in there. See, everything's fixable. You're totally fine. I'm going to dull this down with black anyway. So we want this fuzziness right here to barely show. So you can just use like a dark gray to put a little fuzziness in there, okay? We just want right inside the line, the inside of the eye, just a little bit of fuzziness, like right in here. Okay, tiny bit. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a round brush. All right, so my round brush, I'm going to wet that, tap it off. I'm going to get thick white, okay, chunky white, and I'm going to fill in this little glare of light in the eyes, okay? Later, don't stick your hand in this because this is going to be wet for a little bit. Okay, so we have that. For the other dots, since they're so small, I'm going to use a very fine, like script liner tip. This is a 1/2-inch script liner. You can use your fine round. A little bit of water goes straight in the white, okay? Straight in the white. So you have a nice little chunky amount. And I'm going to put one of my dots here, and there's another dot that goes down into the color next. I'm going to take that chalk out of there. So I'm going to have one here, and then I'm going to, this one has two, but the other one comes down. Oh, you can put it in. It's close. It's right on the chalk line, okay? So we're going to put that there. And then what we're going to do is you're going to go to your round brush. You can use a detail brush, any round brush. This is a too long. It's called a long brush, which is a round brush, just a little bit longer, kind of like a script liner. So now I'm going to go to this, a small amount of my turquoise, okay? I'm going to go a little darker at first, and then we'll layer it up with some highlights, okay? You do want a tiny bit of water in here. We're not going to dry brush this in, okay? I want you to go slow and steady. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going right inside both these chalk lines, slow and steady, right here. Try not to take out your white dot right there. Rest your hand on your canvas to keep slow and steady, okay? Because I have extensive spinal cord injury, like I said, and I'll get shaky, but I can, and I mean, I've gotten really shaky. Like today, I just had that extra large coffee. I'm surprised. You're not seeing me shake all over. But if I use my arms a lot, I get like, and essential tremors also runs in my family. My daughter has it. My dad has it terribly. But I can always paint. I can rest my hand and on a dry part of the canvas, and I can paint. And so it's all in how you stabilize your hand. We have Parkinson's patients that come to us as well. And we teach them how to paint. And a lot of people with essential tremors. I was actually very surprised to see how many people have essential tremors or have tremors in general. It is a normal part of life, I'm finding, like as you get older, for so many. Some of our instructors also have tremors, but they can paint beautifully and they can do the finest detail. So it's all in like how you're holding your brush. Okay, so I'm applying this pressure. I'm lifting off. Even when I'm making tiny strokes, I'm lifting off, okay? Lifting off. Then we're going to go back and we're going to put some white highlights on this before we put the next part of white on here, okay? I'm going to make sure that these are pretty balanced once you get them in there, okay? I think I'm all right with that. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit further. Now, if this didn't go on in a nice shape for you, all you have to do is get some black and clean it up, okay? So I'm going to grab a little bit of white, tap it off, okay? A little bit of white, not a ton. I'm going to go on this side and I'm going to lightly put my brush down and pull it around. I'm going to lift off as it comes like down towards the middle center right there. Okay, a little bit of a highlight there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on this side. Lift off, a little bit of highlight there. I feel like I can put a little bit more white towards the inside of that. Oops, I went in too far, so I'm definitely going to show you how to put your black in there. Okay. A little bit there. Okay, so over here we're going to do the same thing. Inside. Right, a little bit on the inside. Take your pressure off as you come out. It's all about pressure. And I'm going to get a little bit of white here. And I can get any more paint. I'm going to lift off as I'm coming around. Okay. Really changes up the eyes, don't you think? And you can build that up a little bit more if you want to. Let it dry and you can build it up a little more. But for like where you go in and you feel like you messed up, then you just get a little bit of black and you can trim it right back up again. No big deal. You want to get rid of some of that chalk line instead of just wiping it out later. Just get some black, clean it up. I just went into my white there. That was not a good idea. Maybe I'm not so steady today. Okay. So then I am going to get some white and put it right back in my dot. Hold on, I don't know where the fuzz is coming from today. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my script liner. I'm going to leave a tiny bit of black around the teal part. And I'm going to bring white and stop like right coming around here and lift off. Okay, well actually I'm going to come very lightly to here. Okay, so we're going to pull it here and pull it to there, and then we're going to make a very fine line right at the edge. All right, I'll show you. So we're going to do this on both sides. So you get your white, kind of like roll it off a little bit off the side of your plate. Okay, this is going to be your lightest touch when you're starting at the top, right outside your chalk line. Apply a little bit of pressure as you go down, slow and steady. I want it a little bit wider towards the bottom, so I'm going to go like right here. I'm going to pull it down, okay, a little bit wider. Then it's going to follow around this chalk line very lightly, follow around, okay. And then what I'm going to do, I don't want a lot of paint here. This chalk line's pretty bright, so it's going to be hard for you to tell, but I want this white to follow just a little bit right here. You might need a little bit of water to make that really faint. If the chalk line wasn't so bright, which is nobody's fault, you need to see it, it's hard to tell. So I'm going to go like right over this just a tiny bit. So now that's white paint instead of chalk, okay? And then I'm also, there's like a wonky piece in my canvas, so I'm gonna cut that edge a little bit with some black. I'm going to make a fine edge right here, going out to the brim of the hat with white also, and then I'm also going to touch this chalk line with a little bit of white, not a lot, right up here, okay? So we're gonna do that on the other side, and then I'll fix that, okay? Do the same thing over here, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go right outside of our turquoise. We're going to press and put our white there. Then we're going to widen it. We're going to go like here, make it a little bit wider as you come down here. So a couple of strokes. Script liners are awesome for making very fine lines. Love, love, love them. You'll get used to it if you have it. So this line also is going to follow over here. Light, light, light touch, and it's going to come together with this one, okay? So then, and we're not going to put the eyelashes in or anything like that until we get the fur painted, because the eyelashes will come out over the fur, okay? So we need a little bit of white coming around back here, okay? So you have some eyes without your eyelashes.